The top challenge for this individual is, how do I give feedback? This is a good one. How do I give feedback to team members that are already too hard on themselves? I know.
Such a good question. Such a good question. Because we do know, based on our research, how many individuals struggle with confidence, right? Over 80%.
Yes.
And so I love this question because it's something that definitely comes up for leaders, is that if they're already hard on themselves, I don't want to add fuel to their fire.
We don't want to destroy them.
We don't want to destroy them. But you and I also know that if we don't give feedback, and we don't give it in a clear and a concise way and timely, then we build up all of these different things we want to tell the team member, maybe at their 1-year review, and that they're not able to receive it that way either. So I would actually tell this leader that it is kinder to the person, which it sounds like that's where they're coming from. They're coming from a place of empathy. Yeah. It's kinder to give clear and concise and direct feedback early and often in a caring way. The other thing I would say is, you don't have to like cut somebody down. We're not talking about like, let me chop your head off. We could give feedback in a way that comes from a place of curiosity, finding out, what was happening with the person. It doesn't have to feel like this formal situation that's all intense.
Yeah, I love that. One thing that I would add is, oftentimes when we think about feedback, we only think of constructive or negative feedback. But don't forget, there's also positive feedback, right? There's feedback that makes somebody feel amazing. And I'm totally guilty of this, because I think it's natural for human beings that when we give feedback, it's usually on the negative side of things, even though the team member has probably done 1,000 things right. So when I was an executive, I realized that every time I walked into like the classroom or an office of somebody I was leading, I can see that there was like fear, right? That they were in trouble. Yeah. And I wanted to break that. And so I started to walk into classrooms and offices and just put a sticky note on their desk that said, hey, great job today. Loved that email that you sent. And I started giving like positive feedback and dripping positive feedback that I meant, by the way, not fake positive feedback, but real feedback, so that when you do give that constructive feedback, you've helped build up their confidence a little bit, right? Versus all they hear is negative feedback, and now they just think that they're doing a crappy job. So going along with Lauren's point, don't forget about like setting yourself up for success by also letting them know, hey, that email that you sent to the client the other day, that was a fantastic email. Or I noticed that every single day you get to work like 15 minutes before everybody else. I just want to acknowledge you for like going above and beyond. Those things can help, so that when you do give that negative or constructive feedback, like they already know that like they add value and bring something to the table.
It balances, it creates balance into the feedback that you're giving. It's such a good point that feedback, we think, oh no, that's going to be negative, to your point.
Yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
And I also am thinking that we know that 5-to-1 ratio, to your point though, not it being fake, but building them up and looking for things they're doing well. Yeah. And then when we have something, then we're able to actually dive into it. I'm also thinking of a recent client that we helped give feedback, and she basically thought that like, I don't want to give feedback because, maybe their confidence is low, but also I don't want them to quit. That's the other one that I've heard. It's like, they're going to quit if I give them feedback. And I think that's a limiting belief as leaders that we have. And then of course the behavior comes out that like, we never say anything, but other people see it around us, and it creates a certain culture that's not that great, where we have no expectations. Actually, that's one of our favorite things I think that we've been talking about recently. Can we talk about like empathy and expectations?
Bring it in. Yeah, bring it on. Yeah. I think important.
That's so relative too. I have a client that we were coaching recently, and we were talking about how she never gives feedback because she thinks that people will quit. So I was talking about, if we have an expectation, that actually shows that we care, and caring about the person as well. So now we're setting like a standard, and she started doing it, and she's seen such a change in the productivity of her team. People are not quitting. I mean, it was not good, Netta. They were like quitting left and right, and she couldn't figure out why. And so she just thought like, I just will like say nothing. But then the team member doesn't know what's expected.
Exactly.